What's up, everybody? We've been having like crazy times, but we wanted to get this show started. Oh man, this has been definitely a ride, and now we got Tyler in the wrong spot, dude.
Hey
What's
guys,
going
my name
on?
is Tyler.
Dude,
how's it going?
You guys, man. Okay, we're gonna get this fixed. But welcome to Value Town, guys. I'm ChanManV. Got 3 guys here: Gaara, Tyler, Falcon. What's going on, guys? While I fix this. Jeez.
Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa.
I'm Gaara right now.
Is that what I say?
God.
Konnichiwa?
Konnichiwa. That's like Japanese, right? I thought you were moving to
Vietnam.
Vietnam,
Things up here.
right?
You're international now.
Shouldn't you be saying like? But Tyler, yeah, you're gonna be moving soon, right?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
But no more shoes though, man. It's gonna go. What are we gonna do without shoes?
Funny,
Without
one
the
less
shoes.
competition. One
What?
less.
There was King's Day in the Netherlands where people just go on the street and just sell stuff like on the open market.
yeah,
And
that's true.
I did that and I ended up giving everything away for free because like no one would buy my stuff. So I just ended up giving the majority of my clothes and shoes away for free. So that rack on the back.
Wait,
just
are
be
you
completely
serious?
full.
You just gave it all away?
Yeah, I just gave it all
Oh my
away.
God, dude! Somebody got a heck of a deal, dude.
Yeah, a lot of people.
That's nice.
There's one shirt left. The one you see right now.
Sure, it's the complexity shirt.
Only wearing complexity shirts.
Yeah, exactly. Well, guys, we got fun week. Or we got some fun topics today. We're gonna start things off with doing our own bracket. We're gonna have our own like March Madness, but it's like Hearthstone style because Ixar created a bracket of best cards ever, and he's been kind of doing the poll on Twitter recently. But I figured we would make our own predictions and kind of compare it, just because a lot of people in the community have been doing it. And it's just a lot of fun. Of course, the Monster Hunt happened this week, and I don't know. I was trying to like ask everybody who's been playing it a ton, but surprisingly, not like people haven't been playing as much as I thought. But definitely want to talk about it some, just because it's a brand new, obviously, game mode that came out and it was fun. And then of course HCT Taipei, Falcon was just there. Get a little bit of an insight on just maybe what decks we're running there, which kind of leads us into this weekend, which is going to be playoffs, and Tyler's going to be participating on it. Oh, mom.
Yeah.
Oh man, where's my mom, dude? I need some self-service like this, dude.
Yeah.
This is our
I'm gonna leave it.
self-service
Mom,
like this.
say hi.
Hi, Tyler's mom. Oh man, actually we got a 5th guest today. This is great. This is amazing. Okay, you're gonna finish off with Netta, of course, in the Q&A at the end. So
Bye.
questions. Bye. But okay, so actually, why don't we start off with talking about yesterday? How did you guys end up at the end of season rank? I know you guys are crazy and stay up forever, but how did everybody do?
Yeah. I got top 50 finish.
Okay,
So not bad.
nice. Congrats, man. Got some points. Good. Gaara, how about you, man?
Yeah, I dropped to 250, and then I it was so late. It was like, and because most of us play on an A, and then it's like 8 a.m. and like it resets at 9 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
And if you play like before that already, like 20 hours, you just stop caring. Like I was talking actually to Tyler, and he was awake for 40 hours.
Yeah.
You guys, I would just check in on you guys every once in a while. I'm like, damn, you're still awake? What the hell? You guys are crazy, man.
But I
Yeah.
really didn't like try hard too much this month.
Yeah.
Because you only have to finish 3 months, and I was like kind of disappointed this month. So
Yeah.
I will start this month again.
Yeah,
Go for
cool.
high.
Yeah. Dan, did you even try? I mean, you're just getting home, right? You're just.
I am not about that life, right?
Me either, man.
I was something like 300 when I was on my way to Taipei, and then obviously being there, it's difficult to sort of concentrate on playing and concentrate on all the casting and everything.
Yeah.
And also Monster Hunt came out while I was over there, so I just played that instead. The thing is, my journey home, I think I arrived home like an hour before it reset in EU. So there's literally no point whatsoever in me even trying to do it in that situation. And also as a caster, I don't really need to, so I'll leave that to these guys.
Yeah, exactly. Anything you guys noticed in the last day? Anything, any kind of trends? Because I know Gaara, for a while you were saying like Q Block was crushing for you, right? But anything outside of the grind of just trying to get that like 55% win percentage and grind out some points that way?
I was shocked, like when I saw the general trend from what I've seen from people. It's like there's like a lot of people on Twitter always. It's like that people had generally a very bad win rate and very bad finishes. People were like happy, like people that where you're used to finishing top 20, top 10, like I don't know, Casey, ball control. Like a lot of people are like happy with top 100 finish this time around. So a lot of people were struggling. I think even Tyler is not used to finishing top 50.
Oh yeah, I was struggling a lot.
Yeah, he was telling me top 50, man, and it's like, yeah, all right. He's like, no, not all right, dude. No, like,
That was a bad month.
yeah.
But yeah, a lot of people were struggling. I wonder, like, who were the people that finished in high? Were they the people that just played the most? You know, they had it before and then camped, or if it is like more and more competitive now, like,
yeah,
what the actual cause is. Could be that Hearthstone's like low key ultra competitive right now.
Yeah, I mean,
It is for sure.
I mean, it's a good thing, but then it just creates these crazy stressful times at the end of seasons. So
another thing is that we don't have like this one super crazy deck with which you can achieve insane win rates by just playing insane. We kind of always had that before this month, like Razaku's Priest or something, where the general people are like struggling with it. But if you're like one of the best Razaku's Priest players, you will have insane win rates, especially in the last day. Now we don't have that. Like Q-Block is like kind of the best deck in the game. But everyone is like soft targeting it. Like the even paladins play double O's, double silence. Like everyone is playing double silence and double O's, and then it doesn't really feel like the best deck in the game a lot of the time. So
I don't
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah,
that
I agree with
saw
that.
Skull stick. Like Skull just gets destroyed as soon as it's played.
yeah, if you play your leg, you get silence. You play your skull, you get
Right,
silence, like,
right.
every time.
How about you,
Yeah,
Ty? What did you notice?
I just couldn't find the one deck to abuse that I normally have. Normally, I just have this one OP deck. I played Combo Priest for like 3 months straight for all my finishes, and this month I just couldn't find a deck, and I ended up getting top 50 with Taundred, Hadronox Druid, because it beats Priest and Warlock, and so it worked out near the end, but I don't know, it just didn't feel the same as.
Oh, that's
the
a good
other
move, though. I
OPX.
mean, that was a smart move, though. I mean, I feel like that's something I'm used to seeing from you. Yeah, at the end is just like some kind of interesting tweak that nobody's doing.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be bringing that actually to HCT this weekend.
Yeah,
too,
I'm
right?
bringing that deck
That's
to
gonna be
HCT.
sweet,
I'm surprised that quite a lot of people actually brought it. Like,
Really?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
really
yeah.
What made you decide to bring it?
Well, I'm targeting Priest and Warlock, so
Smart.
I just looked at my stats. My win rate as the Taundred was really good against Priest and Warlock, so I made a greedy Warlock that's good against that. I brought Quest Rogue that's good against both of those, and I brought a very greedy Priest that's also good against those.
So you're banning Paladin, basically, or you're banning Aggro Rogue or any of those things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Guess it's
Gotcha.
going to be a long couple days then.
Yes.
for
I
the
think
heavy
so.
control decks.
That's nice. It'd be nice to see a bunch of control decks. I mean, we saw some control decks this past event too, but
We did.
it'd be definitely good. Okay, before we get started, I mean, talking more about HCT, let's kind of jump into something that's completely different, which is something fun that we're gonna do today. Again, it's gonna be this kind of bracket. If you guys that watch sports or particularly basketball, college basketball, you'll be familiar with these bracket. Kind of making these bracket predictions. And Ixar, just from the design team, created a bracket for best card. So you kind of have these head-to-head matchups like I think it's like about every day he's been doing it. And he's been taking our votes and seeing how we're doing. But I figured each of us would talk about theirs today. It's pretty different. All of our results are pretty different. So this is going to be a fun discussion. Who wants to go first? Anybody? Anybody want to be that person that sets
I can do
this
it.
in? All right, Gaara. All right, we're gonna have Gaara go first here. So I'm just gonna show just the full bracket. So, yeah,
Operative.
Exactly.
Whoa.
Draken and Opera at the end. All right, so I guess just talk about your picks, like maybe just which ones were maybe tough and some surprising picks. Like
Basically, since I was making many videos in the past about like the most broken Hearthstone cards, I kind of had a pretty good understanding of which cards are like really bad for the game or which cards were just borderline broken for the game.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of relatively easy to get to the point. I was actually surprised by how strong Gul'dan is. Like just because, you're kind of so used to it. But if you compare Gul'dan to other cards and you realize how powerful this card actually is in the game, it's like Gul'dan and Operative are like kind of close. The thing is you can just operative Gul'dan, and then you have your own Gul'dan.
Yeah.
And then you just basically steal Void Lords before that, then you play Gul'dan. The problem with operative always is why this card is so insanely strong, is people usually, like the way, I mean, you have to look at the decks that played operative, but usually you don't keep your late game cards in your starting hand, like your super late game cards.
Yeah.
When you played like Control Mage, a priest had more often Jaina on 9 through the operatives than their Control Mage. And Control Mage has nothing but Jaina. This is just how strong operative was. Like, whenever I compare any card with operative, it's like you could just steal the card with operative, but you have a very powerful minion on curve. Like, the strongest 5-drop in-game stat-wise on curve, and it had Dragon Synergy. So it really makes it, even without this list, even without this comparison, like, for me, the strongest card.
Okay, hang on. Slow down a second. Shadowwalk beat
Yeah, I
Doctor
was
Boom.
gonna bring that up.
Can we just take a moment?
I was gonna bring that up.
Yeah.
Okay, so
because-
you got Shudderwalk over Dr. Boom.
Yeah.
All right, Falcon.
I think Shadowhawk will be good in the next expansions.
Yeah,
Summon
but
does a lot. Yeah, the card Shadowhawk is broken.
the card's nuts, but like,
Yeah, it's nuts. It's broken. But you can't play it because everything else for Shaman sucks.
yeah, but that's the problem. Like, the reason Shadowwalk is not that great is because the condition that you have to play the good battle cries. So the rest of your deck sucks, and that's because of Shadowwalk himself, right?
But Shadowhawk is still good though.
Like,
You're
like Doctor
comparing cards.
Boom is unconditionally amazing on turn 7.
Then Shadowshock sucks. I was thinking about like the actual card. And
That's okay. I mean, if you didn't follow that rule, then that's fine. Just as long as you tell us that you followed that rule. So
yeah, best by definition, best could also mean which is the coolest card.
it
would be better to call it the strongest card.
Oh yeah, like, we all
yeah.
use our own rules, right? Like, it's just a bit of fun.
So it's okay. I mean, it's okay if you use your own rules. I just wanted to kind of stipulate, or it might be good to clarify what parameter you used when you were picking this. So
like some interesting, because you were asking like interesting spots where like Deathbite and Barnes were like at the very bottom of the bracket, and they both could be like contention for like best card ever. I've seen also some people have Deathbite as like the strongest card ever.
I've seen that too.
And it's funny that Barnes is actually also super nuts, and then it's like somewhere at the bottom of some corner of the bracket. Very interesting.
Yeah.
And then we had some super easy decisions like Implosion and Jaina, like a very common one. I don't know what the reasoning was behind that.
Yeah, that one confused me because I think they're the two lowest power level cards in the entire bracket, and they're together. Implosion and Frostless Jaina.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I thought definitely they could have matched up, seeded these cards a little better, and matched them up, because I thought they were some like literally top 8 cards that were going against each other in the first round.
Like some things were extremely difficult to evaluate, like Edwin Van Cleef.
I
because
agree with that.
because it's like a class card, right? Other classes will not get to play him, and to compare it to like neutral cards or other class cards, it's incredibly difficult. But the card is obviously broken, but it's tough to evaluate.
I'm gonna try a different server, guys. We're having some issues with the stream. That's so we're gonna restart this here. So I'm trying to look at some of the other interesting ones. Tyler, anything stand out to you? Any interesting picks for that you're curious about in terms of Gaara's?
Yeah, I actually can't see the screen right now. It's like
you can go into the notes. I linked to all of our brackets in the notes. You can kind of.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. You can blow it up yourself if you need to. Let's see the other one. Well, I mean, we'll talk about our individual ones. So it's good that you kind of mentioned Gul'dan there. Any really tough decisions for you? Like,
yes, I think Sunkeeper Tarim was also compared. Yeah. I think was it Mysterious Challenger and Sunkeeper Tarim? That was very difficult.
Yeah.
The thing is with Mysterious Challenger is it requires your deck, to play a lot of bad cards, and Sunkeeper Tarim is always good. That's what
And again, because of that, for me, Mysterious Challenger actually lost to Arcanologist. Because Arcanologist is just good in every mage deck, right? As long as you're running a secret, which, I mean, you always are, Arcanologist is just good. But Mysterious Challenger was only good for a short period of time, and as soon as Avenge rotated out, it was just bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, like it was good enough to spawn an entire archetype around the card.
Yep, that's fair. That's fair.
So and then to
Oh,
to force people to counter that archetype or that deck, like just because of that card. So it's definitely super powerful.
No, it carried a
struggled
class.
with that
I
one.
mean, like Paladin was bad before that came out, right? And they had that moment where Paladin was bad. It's kind of hard to remember that now, but
I did struggle with that one. However, I think that Sunkeeper Tarim does just completely trample Mysterious Challenger in terms of power level.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a pretty cool picks. I'm trying to see if anything else that stood out. Without revealing too much of our own,
losing,
I think
Mad Scientist losing to Wild Growth is interesting to me as well.
Yeah, that was also tough. Oh yeah, when we're talking about tough, I mean, very tough because those both cards are absolutely insane.
Yeah.
But you still have to choose a winner. Like in some cases, I wanted to go like even, but you can't. So,
Right.
because it's always good and mana cheat is always good.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
Mad Scientist requires you to run like sometimes bad cards in your deck. You know, not all secrets are great. So that speaks for why Grove just always good.
Sure.
All right. Why don't we, Tyler? Why don't we take a look at your bracket?
All right.
All right, here we go. Oh, Tyler's just like smaller on my screen. I think we can still see it. Though.
Oh, Tyler, 4-mana 7/7, making it pretty far.
Tyler's got the UI in the middle. Like UI as number 1, which I can't blame you for that one. That one's definitely a very powerful card.
Just something fun to comment on. So my top pick, which you already said earlier, is Dr. Boom, was in Gaara's, was like right at the bottom, or like one of the worst cards in Gaara's bracket.
That's
now Gaara's top
fun.
pick, which was Gaara's top pick, which is Jackknight Operative, didn't even make it past the first round in Tyler's bracket.
Right.
So what is going on here?
So that's why it's fun. That's why this is like a lot of fun. Go ahead, Tyler.
I don't know. My memory might be wrong, but back when I played 4-mana 7/7, I was getting rank 1 legend in all servers simultaneously.
Yeah.
And from my memory, it just seems like the card was absolutely broken. But of course, it also had the help of Tunnel Truck and Totem Golem. But 4-mana 7/7, from my memory, it was just the nuts back in its time.
That was one of my issues when I did it, actually, was sort of working out which of the Shaman cards it was that made Shaman the most nuts. Like, is it down to Tunnel Trog? Is it down to Totem Golem? Like, which card do you actually attribute its power to? Because, like, one wouldn't be as good without the other, right?
Yeah. It had to be the entire package, but still, I just remember people getting really mad when I would play 4-mana 7/7 on 4. So, from my memory, it just seemed really strong at the time.
I think it was the curve into 4-mana 7/7 which made it so broken. As you can see, we had like a long period of time where we had the 4-mana 7/7 where the Trog rotated out and it saw no play basically because Shaman just is unplayable for 1-drops. This is why I think Trog was like the important card and the Spirit Claws.
I forgot about Spirit Claws.
Yeah. Oh, Spirit Claws. I totally forgot about that one too. Yeah.
But then how do you judge it? Because like
you're supposed to judge it at the time. You're supposed to judge it how it was at the time. And 4-mana 7/7 was super strong at the time because we just didn't have the removal that we have now. You know, we didn't have the Psychic Screams, you know, and we didn't have the crazy Warlock removals right now. And it wasn't as popular at least, right? So
that's also why Totem Golem didn't make it so far for me because we had Totem Golem before Trog and it was not very powerful. Like as soon as Shaman got Trog, everything came together. Spirit Claws and Trog, and then boom.
Yeah. I mean, between the two, I mean, the combo 1/2 was the best combo in the game, like by a long shot. 1/2
and
play,
then
right?
Totemic.
Yeah. And then we had that before it got nerfed. That was ridiculous. So yeah.
And then 4-mana 7/7.
Yeah. What'd you guys think about or Tyler? What'd you think about the Imp Gang boss picks, like against Slayer, against Mad Scientist? I think that's been a topic of some folks on Twitter, just people remembering how strong that card was, and was it really that strong? Bless you.
Thank you. It was really strong in Zoo.
Yeah.
So for me, it beats Valsman Slayer for sure, but then it instantly loses to Mad Scientist in my opinion because Mad Scientist was just a nuts.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So something that confuses me a little in yours, Tyler, and it won the vote as well. So clearly it's popular opinion, but Defile beating Preparation. seems strange to me.
Yeah.
Let's see what's that. Yeah.
Yes.
No, the file is literally the most insane board clear in the game. I've had boards where you clear a Gul'dan or an Azoth with a 2-mana defile card. And
Wow.
I also know that
That's awesome.
I also know that in Arena, the file is like the first Warlock pick. I know some. I watch some Arena streams sometimes, and
Yeah.
I know it's like it's the most insane removal card
I
ever
guess
printed,
Tyler's
probably.
good. So,
So I just think
Yeah,
the
fair
card is really insane.
I thought it was strange because preparation's been in like what every rogue ever. Is
Yeah.
that right?
Yeah.
Prep did well on mine, so yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
So,
I'll explain that later, though.
but you're right. I mean, Defile is just strictly nuts in all control warlock decks now.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Gul'dan made it pretty far in both of yours. Which
Yeah,
is
Gul'dan
also
did super well. Wow.
not
Like
surprising.
finals.
I think on mine, Gul'dan lost to Totem Golem.
Oh, wow.
We'll see in a second. I'm not sure if it did or not with mine. It might have. I know I was thinking about it though. The Reno Mana Worm one is pretty interesting.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about that too.
Yeah, like there was some talk about just like people like is this a lot of this skewed towards legends, and like very bigger cards, because it's hard to measure, right? Because like especially the cheap cards. I think that at least personally that was harder for me to evaluate. So like I sat on that one for a while too. The Reno and Mana. Yeah.
Comparing
For me-
Patron to Ultimate Infestation.
For me, the reason why Gul'dan made it so far is it's so good that in a lot of matchups you keep the card in your mulligan. You keep a 10-mana card in your mulligan,
That's true.
and it's
That
so
says a
impactful
lot.
for every matchup.
Yeah.
That it just does a lot to me.
Wait, was Shadowy Band not on this?
No.
No, it wasn't. Just because it's been nerfed. I mean, if you're talking about the old Shadow Reaper,
It hasn't though, has it?
Well,
It
oh
has
no,
not.
you're
Raza-
right. You're right. Raza got
Raza-
Raza was nerfed, right? Yeah.
That's like that feels like a vital card that's missing actually.
Yeah, but that card I felt like was stronger because of Raza, right? And I don't know. It's hard to judge once the card's been nerfed,
It's
because
still got a top tier deck now
we're
though,
just
right? The
yeah.
Mind Best Priest is still.
Yeah, I guess fair. Yeah, it's definitely
also
better
felt
than
like-
some of these cards on here. Yeah.
I also felt like Pyromancer was kind of missing. That would have
Oh,
been
me too.
nice to see.
That would have
Maybe
been.
even Acolyte of Pain actually.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Something-
we could have made like a bracket of like 10-24 or something. I mean, something huge, right? But I mean, you had to start somewhere. So this is a bracket of 64, right? So
Yeah, you mentioned the Mana Worm Reno Jackson thing. And I found that interesting too. I've spent at least 2 hours, I think, arguing with other casters about this.
wow.
It's
That's
just
a long
fun,
time.
right? It's just
Yeah.
fun to have this conversation. And I think Soda was saying that he thinks Mana Worm is just an easy win here because
Yep.
Reno Jackson decks were only good because of Kazakus. And whereas Mana Worm has been in, apart from Freeze Mage, pretty much every mage that's ever existed. Apart from Freeze and I think Big Spell Mage.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's been one of the best ones. Like, I mean, it still
But the
is one of
thing
the
is,
best ones. Like, if not the best one. So, yeah, it's definitely good. Okay, well, why don't we?
I want to really talk about something very interesting because Ultimate Infestation, I would have almost also had Ultimate Infestation go down in the finals, but like if you would ask me randomly what is the strongest Hearthstone card ever created, I would probably say Ultimate Infestation. But the reason why Ultimate Infestation is so strong is because it's in Druid, and you usually play it on turn 6, turn 7.
Yeah.
But if you would play it always for 10 on turn 10, we actually have stronger 10 mana cards in the game. This is why, like, I would say Gul'dan is a stronger 10 mana card, and it's a better card. It just does so much more than Ultimate Infestation. And
I mean, you
yeah,
can't,
I
but
think
you
this is
can't
quite
judge in a
interesting.
vacuum, though. Like, I guess you
But you have to.
could. I mean, I guess you could, but I think the point is to
It's still class cards, though.
yeah.
So
I
you
mean,
kind of have to.
I mean, you have to take into account like Blood Reaver Gul'dan sucks if you didn't play any demons. You know what I mean? So I mean, you have to kind of use context, right?
It's like, it's exactly like you say. Like, how do you compare two cards in a nutshell if you don't look at Ultimate Infestation as being a card in the Druid?
well, you're not supposed to. You're supposed to look at it as a druid card.
Yep.
So the druid
Yeah.
does mana ramp, and you play on Ultimate Infestation at 8 a lot of times.
Okay,
So,
but isn't
yeah.
then the ramp broken, or is then Ultimate Infestation broken?
Sure, and that's why Wild
Yeah.
Growth's done a lot of good, right? Like
That's
Wild
where it
Growth
gets
did
really
well, too.
complicated, though.
Yeah.
I see the problem for sure. It's just like my
Yeah.
Tunnel Totem Golem problem, or like
Yeah.
even the argument about Dark Pact, right? Like
Yeah.
you could say Dark Pact's no good without Lackey, but yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, there's always going to be this kind of, you know, just it's a little bit of conflict there, but you know, again, it's just about how good it is at the time, you know, at its heyday, right? And right now, Ultimate Infestation's still in its heyday. So is Gul'dan. So, but even just like looking at it by itself, right? Gul'dan brings you all this obviously value back and the hero power lifesteal. Ultimate Infestation, I mean, we've done the calculations as to how much value it gives you like, right off the bat. So
17 mana card.
yeah, sometimes it gives you so much value you can't even use a second one. That's how good it is. So okay,
Often,
cool.
actually.
Yeah, good picks though. Definitely good picks. All right, Dan, why don't you go next?
All right, sure. I feel silly about some of mine now after looking at you guys ones.
It's
but,
not. That's not. I mean, it's fine.
and I really don't think Dr. Boom is the best card ever. Like when I got there, sort of as the end result, I went, huh? That doesn't seem right. Like if you asked me in a vacuum what the best card ever in Hearthstone was, I probably would have said, I don't know. I might have said Piloted Shredder actually.
Really, Piloted
yeah,
Shredder's
because
in
it
the
was
same bucket as Dr. Boom in my opinion.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, but I keep changing my mind about these. Like Call to Arms, maybe too.
but
Piloted Shredder was in every deck ever for 2 years, right? More or less.
yeah. So was Dr.
I'm-
Boom.
yeah.
I mean, Dr. Boom was there. Dr. Boom and Piloted Shredder were in the same decks, basically.
True.
Yeah.
I find this actually very interesting. It really depends on how you look at it. I think if you approach this with the mindset, what was the best card at their respective time, then I would probably rate Dr. Boom way higher, because at that time Dr. Boom was absolutely broken. And
Yeah.
like then you have to if you compare like peaks.
Okay,
Then
the other thing that maybe you take into account, or maybe you don't, I'm not sure, is do you value a card lower because it's a legendary? Because therefore you can only have one copy of it in the deck.
No.
And you can
I mean,
you can run double Piloted Shredder, which
Yeah.
means the card is twice as helpful.
I don't
Could
think
make
you.
that argument.
I don't think you lower it. I mean, I think the impact of it is based on how many there are. You know, like if you get to play two of something like UI, for instance, then that plays into how good of a card it was. So yeah, to answer your question, the rarity does play a factor. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm just trying to work out what. Okay, so I rated Ice Block a lot higher than you guys did. You both put Wild Growth above it.
Not me. You didn't go.
My,
above me.
argument for Ice Block is that it made it into every archetype that Mage ever had. Even like the aggressive mages ran Ice Block at some point. So that's why I rated that so highly.
Right. So swipe over Mana Worm. Explain.
Where are we? Swipe over Mana Worm. Yeah, that is a funny one actually. In fact, I should have written some question marks there because that seems like a pretty close one. Again, Swipe has been in almost every Druid deck. I guess not Spiteful, but everything else, it's just a good. It's just good burst and good removal. But no, looking at this now, I think I would put Mana Worm above Swipe.
I think one very interesting thing is also that I think Barnes is underrated in a lot of these spreadsheets.
That was
Because-
a tough one. Yeah.
Because
That was tough too.
almost everyone picks Deathbite over Barnes,
Yeah.
but people forget like how big of a Barnes is arguably one of the biggest problems we ever had in Hearthstone.
Yeah.
Because it
No,
can
I
be
agree.
so broken.
And you know, when I had this discussion, because I was in Taiwan with Gia, Derek, and Lorinda when this came out, and we had an hour in a Starbucks arguing over it all. And I think at the time I was saying Barnes is the best one. So I don't know why I randomly why I put Deathbite here, but it's hard, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think the argument we made back then was that Blood Razor is actually maybe even better than Deathbite. So that's
Oh,
why
wow.
we would pick Barnes. but-
Blood. Oh, okay.
Because it's two
Who-
whirlwind effects, right?
Okay.
What? I mean,
That's why my reaction was.
the
Okay.
the thing with Barnes, I think for me was just the RNG aspect of it. Like the lack of consistency is actually what
Yeah.
took value away
Yeah, but-
from it.
Like at the final form of Barnes, in the final stages, we had a deck which
Yep.
won almost every time you drew Barnes.
Yeah.
You won the game.
Okay. Okay, how powerful is
Yeah.
Barnes if Yashiraj doesn't exist?
Yeah, okay, yeah, but
I
then,
mean,
yeah.
I think the Barnes and Spiteful are like kind of the same thing in my eyes. So it's
Sure. Yeah.
you
It's
can
like saying
you
this
can
off is bad without any difference.
yeah. I mean, you have to
Yeah,
assume.
sort
I mean,
of,
you
yeah.
have to assume that there's going to be these powerful cards that are built around. So Barnes, I felt like with Barnes, it was obviously in the Hunter, it was 100, it was very consistent unless you drew it. But I still felt there was an RNG aspect of it. Like you only had these two cards, so like if one of them ended up in your hand, like if the Yashiraj ended up in your hand, you were screwed. Like with
Right.
Spiteful, it's a little bit more consistent because there's more cards that you can miss, right? So I think because of that, it just like brought it a little bit down, for at least for me with Deathbite, and Deathbite was such a huge part of the patronage, right? And it was a big part of it. So
I very almost actually ended up with Muster for Battle as my best card.
it was
and-
it was
And
it
that
doable
was
too.
actually like I almost put Muster for Battle there, and I thought, hang on a sec, Muster for Battle is going to beat Mad Scientist. That can't be right, can it?
No.
And I thought, you know what, Doctor Boom makes more sense as a best
Dude,
card
Muster for
ever. I
Battle
guess that
now.
wins.
Can you imagine Muster for Battle now? That would be
Yeah, okay, this is again the
disgusting.
problem. Okay,
Yeah.
we had at some point Master for Battle versus Gul'dan. So we have the best 10 mana card versus the best 3 mana card. How do you decide which one is better?
I mean, you just have to figure out the impact of it, or you have to. For me, it was like it was relative to the other 10s. How much better is this card? Relative to the other 3s, how much better is this card?
I mean, Blizzard said that Master for Battle had the highest win rate
Right. So it was super
after
good.
being played in the history of Hearthstone.
Shit, that's really good.
That's what they said.
Yeah, it's
like,
it is
then-
a really good card.
I mean, it's a damn good card.
Yeah, and that was before.
Yeah, as you said, imagine now a Master for Battle.
Well, Muster for Battle, I know now it just, I mean, obviously it's in sync with everything, but Muster for Battle came out at a time where there wasn't really this like board flooding type of paladin, and that's what was crazy. It was even strong in a period where we didn't have this as a crazy synergistic type of strategy.
But I think we had Quartermaster at least.
Oh, that's true. Quartermaster was around. Yeah, that was the one card. Quartermaster. Was
Even
around,
without
yeah.
Quartermaster, though, Muster is still just nuts, right?
Yeah.
Even with Direwolf Alpha, Muster for Battle is a nuts card.
Yeah, but yeah, people didn't quite run that combo as much. We did see the knife jugglers and stuff like that. Okay, let me bring up mine because mine's pretty different too, and I can explain what I used here. Yeah, I think one of the biggest things for me was just that it was about positionally, where it was, like the mana cost and how it was relative to the others. So for me, in a lot of cases, like the one drop, like Mana Worm, for instance, Mana Worm did super well because Mana Worm is just so good compared to all the other one drops. And Tunnel Trog honestly would have done super well if Call to Arms wasn't in the bracket with it. So, and that was the big issue for me in a lot of these. It's just like Spiteful going against Sunkeeper Tarim was like, I mean, I think Spiteful would have done better if it was like somewhere else.
Some mage bias.
Yeah, I know, right? And then, I mean, even Wild Growth and Ice Block. Wild Growth would have done so much better for me if it was just somewhere else. So it was just happened to go against the card. And the reason why I ended up with Ice Block, by the way, or just some of these cards that did well for me is, some of these cards have just been around since the beginning. So,
Yeah.
The fact that they have multiple errors, I think that was more value in my mind. The fact that they've been good for so long means that they get more points because of that. Where some of these were only good for just the heyday, and they ended up just going off with the expansions that were reset.
But it's also unfair.
It's a little
to think about
unfair. It is a little unfair, but I think there should be some value, given to a card that's just been good forever, and
I agree.
Yeah,
I
Block,
actually took that into account for mine, yeah.
yeah, and I think because Wild Growth again, like it was a really tough choice between those two because Wild Growth probably would have gone almost as far as Ice Block in my mind. Maybe lost to UI, I don't know, but yeah. So Ice Block for me was just like it defined archetypes, for a mage. Like we didn't even have a control mage without Ice Block before, and
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Did all of us pick Muster over Zombie Chow?
yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. That's
I'm
not
pretty sure.
that wasn't even close for
'Cause-
me. Yeah.
Well, I've seen some arguments the other way online. Just curious. Like Zombie Chow is arguably one of the best one drops that we've ever had. I mean, I'm on your
Yeah,
side. I also pick
is.
Muster. It's just
Yeah.
you know.
But how many 3-drops are better than Muster? Like I
True.
don't,
Yeah.
I can't think of very many of them. Yeah, and Flame Waker did super well for me too. Like
That's the thing is, if you power creep 3-drops and 2-drops to a point where the 1-drop doesn't matter or you can skip on it, that kind of devalues like the 1-drop. Because we have at some point we just stopped because Blizzard saw the problem with power creeping 1-drops with like Undertaker patches and whatnot.
yeah,
That they powered creep like 4 mana cards, 2 mana cards, whatever. More.
yeah.
Yeah, I also don't think Zombie Chow was played during the entire time that it was. There were a lot of metas where it also wasn't good enough as a 1-drop, or people just didn't play it. From what I remember.
Yeah.
How much worse was Mistress of Mixtures to Zombie Chow? Like, was it actually that much worse?
It's like I think some of the power. I think the power of some of the like the 2-drop power right now is pretty low, right? Like there's not I mean there's not like just in terms of historically speaking. Like I think
we're playing Armani Berserker now. So.
Exactly. Good point. Yeah, the even decks are playing these crazy old cards now. So I think the time when Zombie Chow was, the reason why I even think they made Zombie Chow is because the 2-drops were so good. We had Creeper and didn't we have like cards that were insane? Like 2-drops?
Creeper, Mad Scientist.
Yeah.
In fairness, we're only playing Armani Berserker because of the even card restriction.
Yeah,
right?
true.
Yeah, true. Well, okay, sure. But if you did just lay them out, the 2-drops are pretty weak right now, and that's why like Keleseth makes sense, or it's being played, is because we just don't have this must-have 2-drop like right now.
Is Keleseth being played much?
Yeah, we see it in Druid, and we see it.
Pretty much just Spiteful Druid.
I've seen
right?
it pop up. I've seen it pop up from like rogues, pop up in some different things too. I mean, we saw it in Rogue, Tempo Rogue for a while, right? And what'd y'all think of Azure Drake and Van Cleef? Is that an easy one for you guys?
That was pretty tough, actually.
Yeah,
No, that was tough. That was tough.
Yeah.
That's actually the only real decision I had. I really thought about a long time.
Yeah. The Doom card
Like a
probably
neutral card that is played in almost every deck compared to like Van Cleef.
Mm-hmm.
A broken card.
Yeah. The reason I went for Edwin in the end is because, like, for a long time, I think a lot of people expected Edwin to get nerfed because there was a period of time where, like, just turn 2 or turn 1, coin, counterfeit coin, Edwin, win the game, and that was just pretty common. So,
I think looking back on this, I might have Flamewaker going a little too far, but Flamewaker was just damn good.
Better than
I just have nightmares about Flamewaker, so I think it just in my mind, it just has such incredible value. It's one of the best 3-drops ever too, right? It's
Gaara just mentioned Jade Idol.
Yeah.
That was an area in which you guys went very different to me because I had Jade Idol losing to Dustbreaker.
Oh, that was a no-brainer for me. Jade Idol over Dustbreaker. Yeah, because
Dustbreaker was like the cheapest priest AoE we've ever had, right? And it just it really filled a blank spot for priest. But I can see why Jade Idol would do so well. Like it enables Jade Druid. So
and it's prevented like 80% of all potential control decks that would have been
killed Warrior.
If this one single card would not be there.
Infinite fatigue mechanics is scary, man. Like, I mean, Dead Man's Hand could be scary, but it seems not to be. But have you seen the Glinda Banker combo? You tweeted about it yesterday. I tried the deck today.
What is it?
So in Control Warlock, you play Glinda, the card that gives minions in your hand Echo.
Right.
It costs 6 mana. And then you play Banker twice. So the first Banker shuffles Glinda into your deck, and the second Banker shuffles the first Banker into your deck. Oh my god!
Okay.
And it allows you to go
infinite, basically. Yeah, that's obviously the dreams when you get Glinda. When Glinda lives for a turn, you're in deep trouble. Like that's generally how it works.
My absolute favorite card on this entire list is Brawl. That it made it into the card with the most broken cards.
Yeah, Brawl should not even be in here, dude. Like,
there's so many cards that didn't make it.
Yeah, I mean,
like Fenrir or there's just a lot of cards, and Brawl made it.
Shadow Reaper Anduin.
Yeah, Shadow Reaper Anduin actually had Implosion probably shouldn't have beaten Frostlich Jaina, but I just was high rolling Implosion was always a game winning play. It
Yeah,
was
the
like
low rolling felt really bad.
yeah, low rolling, and I mean yeah. So I mean, it wasn't too consistent with the RNG aspect of that one, but
I thought that Malfurion versus Doomguard was also pretty tough.
yeah, that's
Yes,
why I
I-
had
Yeah,
one.
that one was tough.
That was a tough
I
one.
very almost went for Doomguard because
Yeah.
Doomguard's been strong like forever, right?
Yeah, that's kinda
even
my
even
point,
back
yeah.
in Zoo.
It's a charged card too. You know, like it's still charged. You know, charge is still a broken mechanic, and you know we're seeing it obviously taken advantage of with cubes and
It's
dark
like-
packs and things.
If you think about it, it's so hard to think about the card in just like a nutshell.
Mhm.
Because like the way how we play Doomguards now is we cheat it out through Skull of the Manari and Lackeys, right?
Right.
We don't play it from hand anymore.
But even back on day one, like in Zoo, Doomguard was strong.
Yeah, remember,
Yes.
remember power overwhelming, double power overwhelming, and
No,
it's
that's
weird.
what's going to give me PTSD.
right.
But then again,
Right.
with the power creep, these cards got weaker. Like back in the days, it was just way stronger during that respective meta than right now. Like you wouldn't play it anymore just
Yeah.
because you have Spiteful or whatever.
Yeah, but now that we are, you say that's what I was saying. Like Doomguard's one of those cards that got more points for me because it's just been there the whole time. So it's had its ups and downs, but the fact that it's even just been there and been relevant speaks a lot, right? And yeah, it's been enabled again because of Cube and because of Lackey and Skull. But still, like if we didn't have this card, I mean, you're not going to be doing this with Leroy. You know, like you're not going to be doing this. You're not going to have this ability.
Was Leroy on this list?
No.
No, Leroy wasn't on the
Weird.
list.
I promise you, by the way, this is 100% true. I have had nightmares about Doomguard, about being Doomguarded in the face with power overwhelming for lethal.
God, okay.
Not recently, not in the cube
Okay.
meta, but back in the Zoo meta with power overwhelming.
Yeah,
I definitely had nightmares about being Doomguarded in the
that's
face.
funny. Yeah.
I played this game too much.
Definitely a fun This was definitely like really
Yeah.
fun, and
Yeah.
XR, kudos
Yeah.
to XR for starting this up because
It was so interesting to me that the ice block won for you.
yeah,
If the brackets were made up differently, because I had
Oh.
Walgrove beat ice block,
Yeah.
but that one was a really close one for
Yeah,
me. So
it's been top
if it
eight,
was
right?
like
Yeah.
somewhere else on the bracket, then ice block would have. If it didn't have to face against Walgrove, then it would have made like at least top 8 for me in the
yeah,
bracket.
me too. I think
So-
Wildgrowth might even made top 4 for me if it was in a different bracket. Yeah, so it's really cool. I mean, this is like perfect for Hearthstone nerds. You know, like we could sit here and talk for hours about why we chose each of the choices, and that's
You should do a
always
Swiss
great
next
idea.
time.
Which one? Which one?
He has to do Swiss next time.
Swiss?
Swiss.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Swiss.
That's
That'd be-
funny.
Yeah, that'd
I
be pretty
agree
cool.
though. This was a very fun exercise, and
Mm-hmm.
it's great that XR set this up.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know what else you could do. Like, is there anything else we could do here? Like if he followed it up with something else? I feel like he should have done
Worst
minions
cards
first. He should have
ever
done
up.
minions first, and then he should have done like spells next. That way he could have done it
Maybe
twice, right?
Arena, best Arena. card
Okay,
ever.
yeah, maybe something like that. Okay, well, anyways, let's see. Let's move on to Monster Hunt. So a new game mode came out. They didn't, unlike previous expansions, or at least the last expansion, they didn't release the dungeon run side of things at the same time. They ended up releasing Monster Hunt a couple weeks later, and it's kind of nice. That way we can kind of get like something new, just a little bit later after we've started settling into the new cards.
I think it
And-
was a great idea doing it that way.
Yeah, I think they could have even waited a couple more weeks, to be honest, and
Yep.
it would have been a way to keep things going, before we get to this kind of lull. But did you guys end up playing it? I'm like,
Well, I have a confession. I played exactly 0 games.
oh my God.
That doesn't surprise me. You're
That's
too
why-
busy on ladder.
That's why we have Dan in here, hopefully, to talk about Monster Hunt. So did you play
Yeah, I'll
any,
leave
Dan?
it to you guys.
Yeah. Did you play any,
I
Dan?
didn't either. Yeah, I actually played it a ton. While I was
Yeah.
like in my breaks in Taiwan, while I wasn't casting, I was actually on my phone just like casually playing Monster Hunt, and like it's fun. It's like Dungeon Run. It's something I enjoyed playing once, and I won't go back to because it's just more fun to play ladder. But it is a breath of fresh air for me. It's a nice way of sort of chilling out and experiencing different things the game can do. It has annoyed me a little bit how the quests work.
Yo, God.
Because
Yeah,
they
it's
make
really
you
annoying.
they make you get 10
Playtime.
wins with the first hero.
Makes
And-
no sense.
I thought that would be the only one. So I completed the first hero in my first try. 8 wins, great. And then I thought, okay, I'll get the last 2 wins later. So then I completed it with all the other heroes. And then I went back and got the last 2 wins with the first hero. And then it's like, great, now get 10 wins with the second hero. What? I've now got to go and do 10 wins with all of the heroes again. So that was annoying.
Yeah.
But
Especially the 10 wins number. That makes no sense.
why is it an
Yeah,
8?
it's kind of a random number. It should be like
Yeah.
8. Like if
It should
anything,
be
it should be
8.
8. Yeah, so it is kind of strange. Like there's been many times where I just play 2 and then I literally end it, because then it goes on to the next quest. And the fact that it's good that they give us a pack every time. It just forces you to play the Monster Hunt. Like you have to play it to.
Yeah, and there are a lot of people like Tyler, like Gaara, like one of the casters, Derek. He was saying, I hate it when they make quests for these and they're taking up one of my quest slot. Like, why
Right.
can't I just delete the quest?
Right.
And that's something I think maybe they should. Maybe even if it's just legend players, just players that have hit legend have the power to delete these quests, because
Well, I mean, I
if
think
they
it
want
should-
to take competitive seriously, then maybe they want to be earning packs while they do it and not having to do it the other way.
At least mix it in. Like it should just be random whether one pops up or not. It shouldn't be guaranteed that spot is like a Monster Hunt.
Sure.
And it would feel a little bit better at least. But
Though at the same time, we can't complain because they are.
yeah, they're giving us
awarded.
packs, so it's like, oh man,
It's a tricky one. I understand why it is the way it is, but I think it's something they can improve in the future. As for the game mode itself, fun. I don't think it was quite as fun as Dungeon Run when it came out. Obviously, that was fresh and brand new and an entirely new thing. And it was cool that we got to play different heroes and have weird hero powers, like Gaara Tyler. I don't know if you've seen how it works at all, but like Toki, Time Tinker
Toki's
Toki,
awesome.
like
Yeah.
her hero power is you can start your turn again.
You just redo it, like reset everything, and you get to do it again.
And the reason that's helpful is
Yeah.
because her deck is entirely full of random effects, right? Like Arcane Missile, Cinderstorm,
Yeah.
the actual card, like Toki Time Tinkerer, like anything that can generate random cards is in her deck. So that's annoying, if a little bit frustrating.
I lost with her on the first boss. I played Mad Bomber, had a pretty bad outcome,
that's
then
right,
I
you told
time
me.
tinkered,
You told me
and then I
about
Mad
that.
Bombered my own face 3 times. And on the first boss you have like 8 HP.
Yeah.
Wait, didn't you rewind it and you did it again? You
No,
bombed
I
yourself
had a
3
pretty
times.
No,
yeah,
'cause
that was after the rewind.
Uh-huh.
I had a pretty bad Mad Bomber,
Oh,
right?
okay.
I didn't, and then after the rewind, I dealt 3 damage to myself with 8 HP, and it got something on the board. Just
I saw a great
Feels
meme.
bad, man.
I saw a great meme on I think Reddit, where someone had tweeted, "It's okay, I'll just use my hero power if it goes wrong," and he casts Scroll of Wonders.
Oh, I saw that.
And,
Yeah.
and it gets him the hunter card that changes your hero power to give a beast +2/+2. And he's like, no, can't go back.
Yeah. Dinomancy or whatever.
Dynamancer, that's
Yeah,
the card.
that's funny.
Dynamancy.
No, I enjoyed the Toki. Actually, I think that like from a creative design standpoint, I felt like the Toki thing was the coolest thing they've done in a long time.
Sure.
I think overall with the just Monster Hunt, it's somewhere in between like the old PvEs, where it's just like a single run through and that's it, and the dungeon run, and more closer honestly to a single run feeling, because I think with the passives this time around, I'm not gonna like say what the passives are, but I think there's a combination of passives that are just the best. And it's just like once you've kind of figured that out, it's like you're gonna keep finishing this consistently if you pick those 3 passes.
Yeah.
And there might be a variety, like maybe a small like a variety of ways you can win, but definitely with 2 or 3 of those, including Hagatha herself, it's just like if you pick maybe even 2 out of the 3, you're gonna definitely win. And because of that, it just feels like, okay, yeah, once I'm done with it for the single time, I'm just not going to play it again. Where Dungeon Run felt, more random because, not only that, the final bosses are all the same too. Like the ones that I ended up playing for a lot of the heroes, I just ended up with Glinda like every single time, and maybe I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't know.
Each of the heroes has their own like rival. So
Yeah.
the first time you complete it with each hero, you'll get their own specific final boss.
Oh, okay, so it's just the first time. It's just the first time that happens.
So like Toki, you get
Okay.
infinite Toki.
Yeah,
and-
and then Glinda's the Cannoneer one, and
Yeah.
so you're facing that person like every time you're doing it. So eventually you figure it out, right? Just like you would if you're doing one of the old PvEs or adventure modes.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why it
Don't get me
feels like
wrong.
that.
I think it's really fun. I think for the casual perspective of Hearthstone, I think it's a great thing. I think it's great they're doing it. I think it's better than the old single player adventures. And again, I think the team should be, commended for putting in clearly a lot of effort into making this. But for the competitive community, it's just not going to be interesting, obviously.
Yeah, like for me.
I mean,
no, I agree.
Yeah.
it's important that most like these exist, obviously, because there's the casual player base, which is the majority, and then players like me who compete. It's such a small group that they shouldn't cater to us. But to me, it's just not interesting. I just want to use my time efficient. And focus on competing.
Yeah.
But it's cool for sure.
That's why I think they should have waited. Oh, go ahead, Gaara.
No, I wanted to just touch like my experience with the Dungeon One. What I find bad is it was again so they released it so close to the end of the season. This is probably why also Tyler didn't play it. So I played it anyways, at least for like a day. But then you were like, okay, I have to climb now. What killed it for me was the quest. It was really like, oh my god, like that really killed it for me. Like I really want to be honest about it. Like having to do like. And as Falcon said, like you have to do it for every hero, 10 wins. So
sequential as well.
So like the first time it's already like, oh my god, it's such a bummer. And then you keep getting these 10. You have to defeat 10 bosses with different classes. It was so annoying that I actually stopped doing it because of that. But my favorite hero was actually the Cannoneer, by the way, because you guys enjoyed the Toki so much. Like it really brought me. It's back to the chess event from Naxxramas.
Yeah,
and it was so cool to think how to position the cannons, and then you have 2 cannons, and then how you clear. That was so interesting. That was actually so much fun. I didn't expect that. What I really hated again was the emote interaction. Man, that also kind of low-key killed it for me. Like the emote interaction is so bad. It's so bad. Like, I don't know. Do you know about it?
Yes,
I didn't even really test it.
I know.
It's so bad. It's like zero effort. It's like the AI will always reply with the same emote, and it just doesn't make sense. And
I agree with you with the emotes. Yeah, it's funny. Now, I'm surprised you even noticed the emotes. That's good. The Cannoneer was, I think the Cannoneer was the one that took me the longest, or at least the most attempts. Because
took me the most.
Yeah, it wasn't clear to me actually which passive was the best. So I ended up going through a lot of different combinations, and I mean, I tried it when you get, the double cannon, because I'm like, this is a cannon thing. Surely I'm supposed to get a bunch of cannons on the board, right? And doing a bunch of damage. I ended up finishing it without anything regarding the cannons, which is kind of funny in the end, because I tried everything. I tried the discount for, like whenever you fire the cannon, and all the crazy hero power going twice and cheaper and all this stuff. And I kept losing over and over again. So, it was funny how I came in about that. But I agree with you, Gaara. I think that's really fun. I wish they would just create a card that would take placement into account like that.
That'd be so complicated.
Hearthstone felt so much more skilled.
We want it to be complicated. What do you mean? Like we want it to be a little more complicated.
Sure, but I mean balancing that, I think would be very, very hard.
Yeah.
It was such a simple mechanic, but there was so much depth into it, because you had to take into account how their minions position after their death, and how your minions position after you play, after they die, after you trade. There were so many possibilities. It was crazy.
I worry it's the kind of thing as well that would be too confusing for the casual audience that Hearthstone aim for. And I know that's the kind of comment that Team 5 would make and people would laugh about. But you know what I mean? Like, how do you word the card? Like, deal damage to minions in front of it? Maybe, but it's not.
If they're introducing it now,
I mean,
if they're introducing it like this, then clearly it's fine to introduce it in the game.
Sure, but it's kind of different losing a game against a player because of it. And I don't know. Like, it's devil's advocate, right? Like, I don't necessarily.
Tyler,
I think it'd be cool.
What do you think? What do you think about a card like that in the real game?
I want cards to be. I want cards to be as complicated as possible. Like for me, ideally, everything has to be hard and give us more decision making and reward good play more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I also know that that's not likely going to happen. Like there has to be a balance between skill and also cater to the casual audience.
This should definitely
for me personally, it would be more fun for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's why
I agree.
Yeah,
the
that's
card-
why like Patron Warrior was like my favorite deck of all time.
Yep.
They should make more cards where positioning matters after like I play the dungeon runs. Like we have some cards, right, where you have to play around or where
Crushing
position matters.
walls, Gaara. Just put
Yeah.
crushing
Yeah.
walls in all.
I mean, definitely say that, but I just think, I don't know, for me, I think something like the cannon is a great way to do it.
Yeah.
Because then you have this whole value evaluation between hero power. You know, like you all of a sudden you give the hero power a different type of value, and then it can increase too, right? You can actually make cards that increase that value, and then I just love the fact that you can move the cannon to the point where it hits the hero, or you can move it so that it hits the minions or hits double minions. You know, just the fact that you have like 3 variations in that is really cool.
You know the warrior legendary, the cannon warrior legendary. Imagine if that did something like it. How cool would that be?
Oh, okay, yeah. It's just like a permanent tower or whatever, that kind of thing. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. That'd definitely be good. Better than random.
Would it be a broken hero power? Like you get this cannon, but you have to pay 2 mana to shoot it.
I mean, I think right off the bat, it's not.
If we had a new
just depends. Yeah, it would. I don't think it would be broken if you had no other cards like accompanying it.
Because compared to the mage hero power, right? Because it's only like in front of it.
Mm-hmm.
Is it like that much better than a mage hero power?
Well, you can hit 2, right? If it's between them.
Yeah, that's like the upside.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the downside is it's harder to aim. So yeah. I don't know. That sounds balanced to me.
That sounds super cool.
Me too.
New class confirmed.
It's like pirate, the new pirate hero. Yeah.
It's more likely be like a new Death Knight hero, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd be like a
That's how
pirate
they do
hero.
it.
It'd be what's a famous pirate? I'm like having, oh god, Pirate of the Caribbean.
Like,
it's like one of those
Patches
guys.
the pirate, the hero.
Patches the hero. Oh my god, that'd be amazing. Reincarnated Death Knight Patches. Oh, that'd be amazing.
Because it must be
the
so
new
hard.
warrior Death Knight.
Yeah.
It must be so hard to create a new class where you have like a hero power doing something similar as all the other hero powers that we not already have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the most annoying part of that would be just like you have this inanimate object on the board. So you have one less minion you can play, right? And you'd have to deal with that. But that's what comes along with playing that hero. So I don't know. I like it. I think that would be really cool. And the fact that they've introduced it twice now in the PvEs should be enough data that it's not too
And people like it, right?
Like it's fine.
People
Yeah.
I agree. And it seems to me as though they tested a lot of stuff in the PvEs, right? As if maybe this is the testing ground. If people like it, if it works, if it doesn't seem too broken, maybe they can play with it in actual competitive. Like one of the passives is the first spell you cast each turn goes off twice. The second time hits a random target.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's a mechanic they consider playing with in the. I don't know. Like, feels like a lot of the stuff could make it in.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, but anyways, Monster Hunt, cool. They're definitely very fun, and I can't wait to see what the next one they come out with is. All right, let's see. The next thing we have here, HCT Taipei. So maybe we talked a little bit about it, but maybe briefly here. Falcon, you were obviously there covering the event. How was it overall? Just in terms of competitiveness and decks and just the event itself.
Competitiveness was really well, I guess competitive. Like now I've tossed up wise. I've been to Thailand, which was a Grand Prix, and now Taiwan, which was obviously the online qualifiers beforehand.
Right.
And very different vibes. Thailand, Tyler, you were there as well.
Yeah.
It was very, very friendly. Loads of players there. Players that lost straight away would then go out and party and having fun and stuff. But then this tournament, because players already qualified, I think everyone there was taking it very seriously. So there was quite a different vibe. And it's cool to experience both. Personally, I prefer being at the Grand Prix because it's nice to have a lot of people. But it was cool to watch the players doing what they do best. Interesting that they qualified in the previous meta, so obviously they had to start from scratch for the final rounds of the tournament. But it led to some really fun games. I think it was the first actual like regular BO5 format tournament that happened since the expansion. So it's fun to watch because of that, as sort of, I guess, the precursor to playoffs happening next weekend. And it was interesting to see which decks actually took the whole thing, as Staz and Switch came first and second. Staz came second, Switch came first. Both from the Philippines, both practiced together. And the lineup that won was Face Hunter, Tempo Mage, Murloc Paladin, and Cublock, which was a very aggressive lineup.
Yes, which seems.
And right after that, the ladder was full of Odd Hunter and.
Yeah.
Which
I want to give a shout out
stopped
to
very quickly. Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to Treads Red, who he had one of the most interesting lineups. I think some of the play was a little bit shaky at times, but he had Benedictus Priest.
What? Really?
And it was just Mind Burst Priest, but with Benedictus in it.
Oh, okay. Sure.
We felt as though his play was strange, because although some of the thinking of having it in the deck made sense, because he was trying to beat the control decks with it. And one of the things that the Priest can do is sort of just run out of damage eventually. And the idea of his deck is that it's never going to run out of damage. And Anduin can turn the trash card you draw into damage. So, but the problem was he played it on curve a lot before drawing Shadow Reaper Anduin, and that didn't seem effective from where we were sitting. I don't know. What do you guys think, Tyler, Gaara? What do you think about Benedictus?
I brought Benedictus Mind Burst to HCT this weekend.
Right.
Yes.
And I'm guessing you don't play it until you've played or drawn Anduin.
Okay, confession. I practiced 0 games with it, and it was actually my teammate Casey who recommended it. And I said, "Okay, Casey, I trust you. You greedy ass."
Okay.
But in theory crafting, in my head, it sounded really good because I'm trying to beat on the control decks.
Yeah.
And after looking at the HCT lineups, I think 60 to 70% of the players actually have the lineup that I'm targeting.
Nice.
And then there's probably like 20% of the lineups that are really bad for me that I'm trying to dodge. But the deck just tries to prey on control lineups basically. And I think it's really cool.
Hats off to him. He's, I think, the guy in the tournament that had the most points going into it. So clearly a very good Hearthstone player.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of got the same, at least philosophy and lineup, right? As you're bringing, Tyler.
Yeah.
Just a very control-heavy lineup here.
Yeah.
So
I was personally really surprised the super aggro lineup ended up winning because I tested Hunter extensively and I thought the deck was just bad. And Falcone, maybe you can tell me more. What did it actually beat?
Hunter?
Yeah.
So again, going into the tournament, I didn't expect Hunter to really beat anything. I don't know. I personally don't think the deck is good, but it seemed to beat everything somewhat consistently. There were lots of top decks for lethal, right? Which you're always going to get with a deck like Face Hunter because that's how the games go, right? You get your opponent weak, you run out of cards, you're trying to draw that last bit of damage. It's just normal. It did very well against the Cubelocks and the Control Warlocks. Like very good at silencing the Void Lords away during that kill command for the last bit of lethal damage.
Oh, it's definitely a favorite. The matchup.
Yeah. I think that was probably what it preyed on.
It beats Quest too, doesn't it? Quest Road?
Oh, Quest Road?
Yeah, I mean, it's Hammer's Quest Road.
Oh, yeah, it just destroys Quest Road, of course.
That's what I would have thought it was good at first.
The thing is, for such tournaments, whenever it comes down to, all right, I have to outgrid the mirrors, you know? When you have a read that people will do that, let's say with the control locks, the cube locks, whatever, then the best deck to bring is usually a full face deck. And the face deck we have is like
the Wolf Riders, man. Break out the Wolf Riders.
3-dimensional power, hells yeah.
Heck yeah. Good stuff. Okay. It's I would bet that we see something pretty similar this weekend too. Like, I mean, this type of mix. Like, we'll see some really aggressive lineups, and then we'll see some crazy control lineups. Personally, I'd like to see the control lineups a little bit more. I think it'd be fun to see, but
yeah, I'm not casting it, so go wild. Control mirrors all weekend. Let's do it.
No, it should be a lot of fun. They announced the lineup this today, right? So we've got a a new caster.
Another
in the
interesting
mix.
thing
Oh,
is-
caster lineups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Blizzard, like listening to the podcast. Like they actually
Mhm.
posted the streams for the first time where we will be able to
Oh,
watch
right.
all.
Oh, really?
That's right.
Yeah, it's for the first time. It's because we mentioned it in the show. It would be cool if they would be doing that in the future.
Yeah,
And
I mean, we have a hard time just following it sometimes.
they
so-
posted all the different streams on all languages.
Yeah, the survival guide. They actually made a survival guide, which is like really, really nice. And Derek Brown's going to be part of the casting.
Yeah,
now. That's
Derek
really
is
cool.
Derek is a real good friend of mine. Obviously, he's also another British caster. He's part of our tribe, I guess. I spent a good few weeks in China with him at the end of last year, and he was in Taiwan with me as well last weekend. And he definitely deserves it. He's one of the best analysts, I think, in Hearthstone at the
Really?
moment.
Wow. Okay.
Just from my own perspective, I mean, I lean towards the host side of things.
Mhm.
I'm not an amazing analyst. I'll be the first to admit that. But he really is, and I think he'll do a great job stepping in for Kibler this weekend.
Actually, I didn't know J Billy D was going to be on it too. Look, that's kind of cool too. I don't think I'm very familiar with Billy Baria here, but yeah, Derek, that's great to see. Just like again, more people getting a chance to to cast on the stage, right, of HCT, and it looks like the streams that Gaara was mentioning are all right here. So we got a lot of different language streams here, and it's very beautiful. That's all in one place. it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be great, and it's gonna be easy to find VODs from everybody. So some of these are actually individual streams. So kudos to those people for stepping up and casting for it. I know APX. I think that not Apex, AKA Wonder, I think is also doing the Spanish one too. So definitely check that out if you're interested in or like AKA Wonder too, and he'll be on here. Here's the tournament bracket. So I haven't actually even looked at the bracket yet. Who are you playing? It's Swiss? Is it?
Wait. There's no way it's already.
Tyler's like,
maybe not. Maybe not.
No, there's no way it's already out.
Yeah. They just have a link here. I don't know what it goes to.
Yeah.
So maybe we shouldn't show anything there. Maybe it doesn't go anywhere. So yeah.
I actually know who I'm playing though. I'm probably gonna historically it's always been like that. I'm gonna play round one. The what is it called when you don't make it through the actual points? You make it through the smaller tournament.
A qualifier.
The fireside pairing guys.
Oh, the Tavern Heroes.
The Tavern Hero. Yeah, I always play a Tavern Hero round one because it's like a high seed.
Yeah.
So I always face a Tavern Hero round one.
Mm,
That's what I know.
nice. No, it's always cool that the Tavern Hero folks get a chance. I run a couple run some Tavern Heroes here down in Florida, so it's cool to see that they actually do make it through. It actually is what it's advertised to be. But,
I have yet to lose to a Tavern Hero round.
Uh-oh.
Jinx it.
That's the curse of death right there when you mention that. But no, good luck this weekend, man. I hope you
Thank you,
do super well. Gonna be rooting for you. But why don't we talk about the meta? Obviously we have event meta here, which is always different because you get a chance to ban, and it's a lot of times, thank goodness, you actually do get a chance to see that because we get a chance to see something different. But in terms of the meta with the ladder itself, I kind of made the power rankings and the popularity little rundowns here that we did before. Wow. And this is from rank 4 to legend, so you can kind of see hadn't been that much change, to be honest. I think the biggest one was that Rogue really dropped in terms of ranking, the power ranking, just because Quest Rogue's obviously been countered a bit better, which has opened up the meta a little bit more. And then Druid and Mage kind of going up. Any of this surprised any of you guys? Like just what you see ranking wise?
I'm kind of surprised that Druid is so high. Which Druid deck is it?
I think it's a combination of like all of them together, right? So we're talking.
It's probably mainly Spiteful Druid.
Yeah, it's of course mainly Spiteful, but
yeah.
I think
I assume that this meta is going to be different to the one Tyler's used to anyway, because rank 4 to legend and just legend will be quite different.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think you'll see more Spitefuls in the like as you go down a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Something that is for me most surprising is I face so many less quest rogues. I don't know why that is.
It's because they're getting countered more. Like you're seeing just the aggressive rogues popping up and the mage for last week that we were talking about. Yeah, they're just softening them up a little bit.
Yeah, definitely more Baku rogue.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised Mage is so high. I
Yeah.
personally like Tempo Mage, but most people I talk to seem to think it's a bad deck.
I think right
Yeah,
now.
I also didn't like
it's
the deck.
bad. Yeah. Oh, I think it had its moment last week whenever we had the Quest Rogue, Cube Lock and Paladin type of triumvirate, rock,
Sure.
paper, scissors. I think Mage kind of like broke that a little bit, and then since then the adjustment has been bad for Mage. So we've
Sure.
seen it drop down a little bit, but it's gone up overall though compared to what it was before. I think it was one slot. I think Mage and Priest went up one each. So I'm surprised Priest isn't higher, to be honest. I thought Priest would be past Mage. But
Yep, I agree.
yeah, I think as you get
Yeah.
higher and higher, it does pass Mage. But
It's
so we
so
Yeah,
Shaman sucks.
in top legend, like the general consensus is that Priest and Warlock are
the best.
the best decks.
Mhm.
Even for preparing for HCT, everyone is just agreeing that you bring Priest and Warlock, or you try to target that.
Yeah.
You're just talking Mind Blast Priest, right?
Yeah, Mind Blast
Yep.
Priest. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. One thing I noticed that comparing it to just the last week when we did this is that it seems really close now. Like Paladins come down, the percentages, Warlocks come down a little bit too. And I mean, we've got 5 of the ranks here that only are separated by 1.6%, in this 48.3 to 49. And Hunter's not even that far either off of that. So it's starting to, normalize some and not see crazy huge percentages, at least overall with a lot of numbers. So that's kind of good to see. The popularity look about the same though. Rogue and Druid just swap spots. It's pretty much the same as what we saw before. Nobody wants to play Warrior, Hunter, and Shaman. That's
Shaman is looking very sad.
yeah. Can it get down to 1 point something? That'll be the crazy thing.
There's still so many people playing it if you think about it. Even though on the
Mhm.
it's 9th place.
Yeah.
For how bad it actually is.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay, so and one other thing too. Actually, before we get into the meta, one thing I did want to mention that I actually didn't mention at the very beginning is that we're sponsored by ShipStation today, and we definitely want to give a shout out to ShipStation right now and kind of tell you guys about it. For the folks that are maybe own your own kind of shop, or you use a lot of popular services like Etsy and BigCommerce and Wox Commerce and just a lot of the other selling channels, ShipStation is going to be the perfect shipping option for you. It's going to kind of bring all your orders into this single interface, and then there's this great ability to print out UPS and FedEx and USPS labels for you really, really easily. And I definitely checked it out. I don't sell a bunch of different things obviously right now, but definitely wanted to check it out and try it out, and before actually telling you guys about it. And it definitely looks really nice. Definitely a great website. You can actually go and try it out for free for 30 days. And if you want to try it out for another 30 days, you just type in the code ValueTowns, and it's shipstation.com. Definitely go and check that out. And again, you're going to be saving yourself time and money if you're somebody that currently has your own, or you're using one of the selling channels, or you have just your own store. So give it a try. They're awesome. Obviously, they sponsor the show, so they're awesome. But moving on in terms of meta, why don't we talk about just some of the popular decks in the last 24 hours? I made this graphic here, and you'll see the Control Priest that we just talked about is definitely there. But some of the ones that actually came back from maybe a couple weeks ago, like with Murloc Paladin and even Paladin Quest Rogue, Control Lock. Some of these were gone actually a few days ago, but they just kind of came back when the season started up again. So anything surprising here? I mean, I think we've seen a lot of these decks at the top of the ladder, right?
Not surprising at all. This is pretty much sums up my ladder experience the past week.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, and these stats, by the way, are all coming from hsreplay.net if some people are asking in the chat. And of course, ValueTown is an hsreplay.net show, so we have access to all these awesome stats that we get a chance to bring some of those to you each week. And these are win percentages based on just the last, I think it's the last 30 hours. So just kind of want to get a quick glimpse of it. And these decks, I put a minimum of 1,000 games. So these all had at least 1,000 games on them. If anything lower, we just felt may not be.
I have a question
dependent.
for Tyler and Gaara about Quest Rogue. Wax Elemental or no Wax Elemental?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a good one.
I'm playing no Wax Elemental right now.
Wax
Why?
off.
Yeah.
For I mean for my HCT lineup, I'm bringing no Wax Elemental. For ladder, I don't know. For ladder, I wouldn't even play Quest Rogue, I think. But
Okay.
for my HCT lineup, the reason I didn't bring it is because I just accepted my fate that I would lose to aggro anyway.
Okay.
So I just
makes
made the
sense.
deck better against control decks. But for ladder, I actually don't know. For ladder, I
But
probably
do you not
would
just get banned against control lineups?
I mean, they have a rough choice because all my 4 decks are good against it.
Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
Smart.
I like Wax Elemental when you don't play the Igneous list, and I
Yeah.
think in the Igneous list you have no room for playing it.
Well, it's Wax or Igneous generally, isn't it? And I guess you drop
Yeah.
Fireflies as well.
Yeah.
For
I think
what?
the best
Backstabs, Fan of
Quest Rogue
Knives?
players don't wanna play the Igneous version because it's too slow, and yeah, you have more room for other stuff.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, I don't like Quest Rogue. It all comes down to Zonya. Zonya is broken actually. Once you play the deck, you
Sonya's
realize
nuts.
the card is actually broken. Like, why is that not on the list?
Yes,
That is actually the
That's because
low-key
it-
strongest card ever created.
That's
Give me
because
the
it just
card.
recently became like we don't even have enough sample size for Sonya to actually is it actually that powerful or not? Because this is the first time it's actually been used in a way where that it's felt
The
broken.
deck is only playable because of Sonya.
Yeah, that's
The
true.
card
Yeah,
is so
basically.
Yeah, that's true.
stupid in the deck. It's so
Actually-
stupid.
None of the quests are on that list, are they? It's kind of
No.
interesting.
Yeah.
so stupid.
Like, which one would be though? Like
I feel like the rogue quest still should be. I know they said no nerfed cards, but it's still one of the most powerful cards after nerf. So surely, therefore, it should be on.
It doesn't feel nerfed.
It
Does
doesn't.
it feel
does it?
nerfed? No, it doesn't.
well, I think
Man, just
Questwork-
imagine
I think,
if it would still
I
be
feel
at
like
4.
I mean, Questwork has always just been like right on the tier of being good, right? Like it just has never been able to clear that just because there were just so many better decks than it. But it's never been bad. Like Questrogue's always
Vicious
been decent.
Scalehide. Vicious Scalehide has carried this rogue to a new tier.
Yeah, this one after the reset, sure. But even before the reset, the Quest Rogue
Yeah.
I felt like was not bad. It was just never. It's just because there was so many good decks and Warlock was
It
so
lost
good.
cards. It lost like Oracle and it lost Ferryman. Who would have
Yeah.
expected?
Yeah, Cold Light Oracle should have been a huge loss for them.
Yeah, and Patches. You lose like Patches, like which was.
Well, you have
ridiculous,
Elven
I'd say.
Minstrel, right? You have Elven Minstrel and you have Zola to help
Like
with
you
those
left
two
the deck
losses.
to the ground and it's still broken. Like just think about it. The Crest
Oh,
nerf,
man.
Patches rotated out, Oracle rotated out, Ferryman rotated. It's broken. How is it still broken? It makes no sense.
Well, when you have a combo that's like a machine gun of 5/5s, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's
And when you
something-
have Glacial Shard being bounced over and over and over and over again.
And it's not even the most broken thing is what actually so few people do. I don't even want to mention it. But like, okay,
mentioned
guys,
anyways.
you can
I
shadow
don't know,
step
dude.
Sonya.
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
shadow
yeah,
step
that
Sonya.
Yeah, of course.
Nobody does it. Like only.
I know.
very
I've
few-
never actually had somebody do it, but it's like
it's
one of
so
the
good.
most powerful plays.
You can concede if you see that.
Yeah.
It's
It's
Yeah.
actually really,
No,
really
it is.
good.
It's really strong.
That's just you know why people don't do it is because they don't have to do it most of the time. It's like the moment they play Sonya, it's like over. Like forget shadow stepping the dang thing. You know, it's
I also
it's
really
crazy.
I know Valera isn't that good, but you can do some wacky stuff in Valera builds of the deck, like just infinite Zola the Gorgon. Just because you get two
No,
copies of it.
Valera's really
and you
cool.
just keep...
Oh, I didn't
um,
even think about that. Yeah, that's true.
And I played one game where I managed to get infinite Sonyas with Valera. I ended up with like four Sonyas on the board, and then I drew a Vicious Scalehide, and suddenly I've got like 5 of them in my
Dirty,
hand.
man.
It's crazy.
Dirty. Totally dirty. Well, why don't we talk a little bit about
Fun.
Control Priest? Like, so why is Control Priest so good right now? Like, for those that might not have realized that Control Priest is doing so well.
I
Anybody
want to
wants to
say
take-
it's overrated
Wow.
I don't
really.
because I played. This is the deck I played the most this season, and when I played it from both sides, the Warlock and the Priest, I felt like Warlock has way more options to outplay the Priest than the Priest has. Priest options to outplay someone are extremely limited on highest level. We're talking here about like top 200 legend.
Yeah, I agree with that though.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
agree.
That the
Yeah.
warlock can like easily outplay the priest if he knows what he's doing. Save your healing, save your spell stones, and just heal up. And
I hate to say
they
it, but
very often just outvalue the priest. They just fatigue the priest actually.
a lot of it comes down to when the priest draws Anduin, though, right?
Yeah,
That's actually a big factor.
Yeah.
it does feel like the priest has to draw Enduin really early in that matchup to be in a good spot. If it's bottom 10 cards or something, then the priest already starts struggling and never gets the damage in.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
But you can also always lose to random things, like you don't draw your weapon removal against Skull, then you lose.
Yeah.
Or like there's Mountain Giant, you don't have a Shadow of Death,
Mhm.
then you lose. Stuff
Yeah.
like that can always happen as well.
Yeah.
I do agree that from the priest versus warlock matchup, that a lot of players say priest is favor, and they overrate that a lot. But that's not the only reason why priest is strong. It's just also really good against paladin. It's really good
Yeah.
against
Divine
Yeah.
Hymn is nuts.
Yeah,
Divine
it's about
Hymn and
time
Hands,
Divine Hymn's nuts. Like it was like crazy that we'd have to like argue that Divine Hymn was a good card when we were first reviewing
Yeah.
it because it's like such a crazy good card, right?
Compared to the Paladin one, two
I-
and a heal 6.
I didn't even realize at first that it was heal 6 to all. I thought it was just heal 6. I thought heal 6 to all would be too crazy for a 2-mana card.
No.
But yeah,
Yeah.
that card's the nuts.
But this deck was good just before rotation as well, right? Like it literally,
Yeah, it
Mind
was.
Blast Priest just appeared a week or two earlier, and
Yeah, but it was more of like a spot type of deck. A deck to shake up whatever settled in, just for
Yeah.
a little bit. But it didn't have like enough good matchups that it could stick around. Where I think right now it actually is in a point where it is sticking, to the meta, which has been good because it adds just another control deck. We haven't seen another control deck outside of Warlock because of Quest Rogue. So now that Quest Rogue's subsided a little bit, we can actually see decks like this. And the biggest thing is that it's good against Paladin. Like that, it has to be good against Paladin. So the fact that this is good and the Pyromancers are great and
it's
it works
okay
out.
against all of the decks on screen right now, isn't it? Like it's okay against Quest Rogue,
Yeah.
right? Or am I off the mark there?
Except the Drazonia, then that's like a different
No.
game, really.
Yeah, sure.
But it does
like,
pretty
the
well.
tempo is
Yeah.
actually pretty good.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
can win. It's not
Yeah.
like a big mage or something where you're like,
Mhm.
these control warlocks where you're like, okay, I guess I concede. Priest
I
can
would
be-
never have thought of putting Scaleworm in this deck as well, like before day one. But that's when I first saw the list. It's like, okay, that's kind of weird, but it definitely works.
It's so good. It's probably the most underrated card of the set. If you go back in
Mhm.
time,
Sure.
definitely. It's just
It's
like
just-
a removal card that can 2 for 1.
It's
Right.
kind of just better than Shadowed Pain, right? It's just better than running Shadowed Pain because you put something
Yeah.
on the board as well.
It's not even 2 for 1. I think you can trade and get 5 to the face, like in a
Yeah.
lot of cases. So
Yeah.
And get card draw as well, which is like, with Cleric, having like a charge minion, a good charge minion, and then you can draw a card afterwards immediately is super good.
yeah. How many times have you guys been mind blasted? 4 times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, pretty often.
Yeah, very often. Yeah, me too. That's it seems to be a very big play in this
You
deck.
have to play around so much damage because I think even
Yeah.
just 2 Mind Blasts is 16 damage if Anduin's on the board, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's been more games that I'd like to mention where it's like, I could either Malfurion and just take 3 armor, or I could, branching paths and take 12 armor, and I'm like, I'm just gonna take 3 and I die.
What is-
because of 4 mind blasts or something like that. It's like shit.
What is very interesting is to see what the sweet spot is for combo decks. Is this like too weak, or is this like where combo decks should be in that spot? You
Mhm.
deal 16 damage with the Mind Blast.
It
You
means
have
it's
your
good.
extra. So.
I think that feels good.
It's funny because you compare it to Force of Nature Savageroar, and it's
Or
actually
just
more
Auto
damage.
King.
More damage, and taunts don't get in the way. So it's like,
Well, that just like flows right into it. Where this is like you have to build it up. Like you have to set up the scenario for this. I mean, there are some intermediate kind of win conditions where you don't need everything to. You can maybe win with 1 Mind Blast and whatever damage you have, but but most of the time you need it all. Where Savage Roar Combat is just ridiculous. Like that was easily one of the best decks ever in our Hearthstone
agreed.
history. Yeah. Okay. Well, anyways, those are the top decks right now. It's definitely always cool to get a look at what's good right this second. And let's see. The next thing we're gonna do just Q&A, kind of finish things off. Before we do, I want to give a shout out to some of our patrons that have been supporting the show for a long time, and you guys are the main way that the show actually is supported and makes it to the broadcast there every single week. So we'll definitely want to take some time and give a shout out to Mike T, our legendary producer, and as well as Bryce L, Dave C, Devin Y, Graham S, Two Comma Kid, Cameron M, Paul H, Vincent G, Gabriel G, David H, David F, Andrew C, William R. Just to name a few. We try to name at least a few of the patrons every week. And if you guys enjoy the show, please go to patreon.com/valuetown and throw a pledge our way. Like anything will help, like $1, a quarter even, perhaps. I mean, it definitely helps out in a big way, and a lot of people don't realize that. So yeah. Anyways, we love our patrons; they're awesome, and yeah, really appreciate it. All right, Q&A, guys. So we got a question from Alex G. What is the absolute worst card you can have in your opening hand when going second and playing a deck that has more than a 50% win rate? Okay, so I guess it's a good deck. What is the absolute worst card you can have in your opening hand?
Patches.
Going second.
Patches.
Baku is so much worse.
Baku, okay.
Baku
Going
is
second,
the
yeah.
worst, like it's patches for 9 mana.
I don't really get how going second is.
Wait,
I don't
what?
really get how going second is relevant.
Yeah,
relevant.
when going second and playing a deck.
So it has to be a good card that is played, which is the worst card in your opening hand, which is Baku, right?
Yeah.
Because it's the most expensive one.
I mean, it's just any expensive card,
Yeah,
right? It's just the way Hearthstone works is on turn 2, you want to play a 2-mana card. Anything that's 4 away from 2 mana, so 10 mana cards, UI or whatever,
right.
it's just that, right?
Well, maybe we reward this question. Maybe it's what card has the biggest impact difference between going first and second? That's obviously something that you would want in your starting hand.
Oh, okay. Murloc Paladin Mirror, having Rock Pool, and going second.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good one. Yeah, I'll second that one. That one's really good. Baku, is there any Baku possibilities, Gaara, here? Just anything. You're going second. I mean, going second having a Baku deck is definitely bad, right? If you had Gen, it would be not so bad.
But in general, with one drops are so much weaker when you go second than when you go first. It's like ridiculous difference. Like if you have a mana worm going first, it's like, honestly, I want to see what the win rate is when a mage has mana worm against warlock turn 1. I feel like I lose every time if you don't have a Doomsayer. But it has to go first.
So
a mage
if a mage goes first and he has a Mirror Worm, right?
It seems like unbeatable.
That's why it made it so far in my thing, dude. It's really good.
It's really
crazy
ridiculous.
Good, yeah.
There's nothing you can do about it. You just lose.
Yeah.
Take the L.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But when you go second, it's a completely different game.
Yep.
For one drops.
It's way worse, actually. Yeah, so I think Mana Worm's a pretty good one too. Almost any 1 drop I would say is good. Yeah. Is there a 2 drop that has a big difference? Well, no, if you're going second, then you actually would want a 2 drop, right? So, yeah, okay. Well,
is this something we don't want or what? For example, Mortal Coil.
Mortal Coil?
Like Mortal Coil is so bad going first compared to going second. When you go there's so many classic cases like even Paladin, right? They go due to turn 1 if they go first, and then when you go second, you have the coil. But when you go first, you don't want a coil on turn 2. Right. So do you even want to have a coil? So probably not. You would coil on turn 3. So it's a huge difference.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, Ahmed N has a question. Do you think players who qualify to finals early in the year are at a disadvantage as they perfected decks that their significance has fallen by the end of the year? As their perfected decks that their significance has fallen by the end of the year.
Yeah, he's just saying that because the meta changes a lot between the time they qualify and championships.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but I mean, it's not like you're probably building decks by the time you qualify, right?
Yeah.
Like, so
I mean, I agree, but it's literally their job, I guess, to keep up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then look at players like Frozen. Frozen took a big break last year between qualifying and actually between championships, and he came second. And he did pretty well.
Yeah. I think everybody would prefer qualifying early. I don't think anybody would like. They just want to take a break the rest of the year and not have to stress out the rest of the year. Yeah. So the answer to that question is like Falcon said. Like you're going to be keeping up with the scene and the meta like constantly. There's nobody that actually takes real breaks. Except for maybe Stan.
Yeah.
Stan might take like a break for a long ass break, but
Wasn't that with Stan Udachi? He qualified in December and then he didn't play Hearthstone for half a year.
Like he might be the only example that seriously like did nothing for like a few
And
months.
regardless, I'm pretty sure championships always happens after a new expansion just comes out anyway. So like I don't think there's any qualification meta that's the same as the championship meta. So really all of the players are at a disadvantage in that respect. So there's no disadvantage by definition.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing in Hearthstone metas is it changes constantly, right? It goes very fast with like the modern age with the internet and everything.
Mhm.
So if you're a pro player and you're playing tournaments, you're constantly on top of it. You're making new lineups every few weeks, and meta constantly changes, and then you get an expansion. So yeah, we're constantly busy with it.
Yeah.
I don't think it changes anything when you qualify.
All right, I'll end with my own question here. Do you guys think that you guys foresee any nerfs happening mid expansion?
I wouldn't be surprised if Spiteful Summoner got enough. Because its 10-drop slot is just stupid at the moment.
Really? You think
But-
it's
but
really
then-
impacting meta that much though? Like
Well, if anything gets a nerf, that's the number one card I can see.
Okay.
Or the Rogue Quest, just for fun, make it 6 bounces.
It would be Sonya,
Nah.
man. But this is too complicated to figure out.
no,
I don't think
6. Come
anything
on,
is-
6.
I don't-
5 to 6.
I don't
is
think
not
anything is
complicated.
busted enough at the moment.
Okay.
No, I don't think there's anything busted enough.
Okay.
Normally, when there's something that busted, literally the entire community complains about it, right? And
Yeah.
is there a card right now that's being complained over again?
I think Sonya is too broken. It's just that people are not aware of it yet. How stupid! Like
I think people know.
nobody talks about it. It's like
Well, it's
it's
not.
like you face it, you lose to it, but how stupid it actually is. Like it really is stupid.
Gaara's just got this vendetta
It's
against Tank.
just
Think about it.
stupid. It's not
so
even
stupid.
talking. It's just
The
stupid.
difference if they have it or
Yeah.
not is like it's
Yeah.
come on, it's
Well, we've had many powerful
broken.
cards. I mean, we still have
It was
UI,
intended that
guys.
way.
We still have UI like that we're playing with, but
Yeah.
I mean, we've had broken or not broken, but super crazy powerful cards that just don't have like meta impact just because of the rest of the deck, right? And so I mean, clearly, I guess you guys can make an argument that there just isn't anything quite like that, maybe outside of Sonya. But what do you think of the meta? Like, do you think the meta, like, there should be just some kind of change up in the meta, or that would, obviously shake things up if you had a nerf of some sort? Or are you okay with the meta? Like Tyler, especially
really-
you. Are you okay with the meta?
I really like it at the moment.
Or Falcon, you like
Yeah.
it? Okay. Okay.
I'm kind of okay with it. Yeah,
Okay. Cool.
I don't think it's the best meta ever. It's not like I'm having the best time of my life playing Hearthstone right now. I think there were better metas that I enjoyed more, but I'm still enjoying it enough to be able to play it every single day. So
Yeah.
for me, it's a good thing.
That's good. Well, have you ever not been in that? Has Tyler ever been in a state where he has not wanted to play Hearthstone? Okay.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard you say those words. So I'm not sure that's a good way to measure it, but okay, that's good then. Because definitely here, definitely Fire Battle on last week. It was kind of settling. It was kind of like, kind of becoming very stale in that sense. I mean, it's changed up this last week a little bit. So I think it's been getting better. But
today was fun. And
Yeah.
yesterday as well, because people stopped tryharding again. Feels good, man.
yeah,
It's like today you could climb with big mage and whatnot.
I'm telling you, man, that muzzy mid-range druid brings back feels, man, for the like winning when you double Savage Roar and winning when you Savage Roar and branching paths, man, feels good. So give that a try. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, Muzzy posted this cool druid, or this old school feeling druid at least. Give that a try. But that's gonna be it, guys, for the show. I know we got off to a little bit late start. We had some a few technical things with Twitch servers, but I think it's kind of stabilized a little bit. If not, we made our local, so we'll post it on the YouTube. Just be sure to go to youtube.com/ChanManV and you'll be able to see it. But let's do some shoutouts before we take off. Dan, you want to do some shoutouts?
Sure, well, I guess I'll do another shout out to Playoffs this weekend. Obviously, go watch that. It's the biggest Hearthstone event of the year. It's HCT. And go give Derek some support. He's a great caster, and I'm sure you'll like what he's got to offer. Also, follow me on Twitter, FalconeHS. I'm actually giving away a £100 or $120 something to spend on the Razer store at the moment. So you can follow me on Twitter, retweet a thing to take part in that. And we're doing the giveaway in 1 hour, so you don't have long.
Oh, wow. Okay, go now. Yeah, you should type that in chat.
Everybody's hot.
Yeah, definitely. Tyler, shoutouts? This might be the last time we see you here, man. It's the last time we see you in the basement, dude.
Oh, yeah.
The shout out to Complexity, the team that has been sponsoring me for 2 years. It's actually the first team I've ever been with, and I've stayed with them forever, and I will be staying there for a long time. So shout out to them.
Awesome.
Shout out to you for always having me on the show. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, dude.
And what else? Am I forgetting something? Shout out to my mom earlier for bringing me tea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Feeling quite a bit sick from all the ladder grinding, but I'm starting to get better. And yeah, shout out to Falcone, Gaara. Also shout out to Derek. I'm also really proud of him for making it to HCT. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's
Gaara, how about you?
Shoutouts to the viewers, shoutouts to Falcone and Tyler. Super awesome, cool guests as always. Shoutouts to all the people that go to the playoffs this weekend. So we have something to talk about in the next week's show. Great for them to produce our content. /Garbage Shaman. I stream every single day. And yeah, that's it, I think. Yeah.
Awesome. And I'll round things out. And yeah, just reiterate that. Go watch HCT. We'll have Tyler back on once he wins. It's going to be great. You can tell us all about how his Benedictus priest ended up crushing. That's going to be amazing. And thanks to all of you three guys for doing the show, and everybody that was watching, being patient today with just some of the things that we were having going on. And again, you can find the show on YouTube, youtube.com/ChanManV, as well as iTunes, Google Play, and SoundCloud.com/ChanManV. Leave us some feedback if you guys enjoy the show. Definitely helps when people are trying to search for the show. And obviously go to HS Replay. If you're not already on it, get the best stats in Hearthstone and give yourself an advantage. Like play the best deck. Figure out what the best deck is at your ranking region and give yourself an advantage, because why wouldn't you, right? So anyways, go there, hsreplay.net, and that's going to be it, guys, for Value Town this week. So for Falcon, Tyler, Gaara, and myself, ChanManV, we'll see you next week.